Hey guys, so in this video we're going to talk about attention grabbers. And attention grabbers are those things that kind of stand out that we want our audience to pay attention to, right? So the number one goal of your landing page is to get your audience to take action, period. We want them to do the thing, click the thing, buy the thing, right? Like that's the whole point of doing landing pages, to sort of focus them on one thing and get them to take action on that thing. So we do this through multiple ways. One is with visual cues and the other is using content. So now we're going to think about the visual side of that. We need to help them engage with our CTA.
We need to get them to focus and do what we want them to do.
There are a number of ways that we can do this, but we're going to, try to keep it a little bit simple. So the choice is yours, though, how you do this. So let's just cover off some of the ways that you possibly could. Okay. Number one of my biggest things is buttons. Buttons on your page should be way more obvious than anything else on your page. Do not use buttons that match your brand, okay? We want to use a different color that makes it stand out. As you can see even behind me, all of the colors are sort of what you see, sort of that teal and that orange. Those are my main colors. But when I want people to take action, I use pink. So all my buttons are pink. Those are my action triggers. Okay, so that's what we want to do. We want to use a color that is still complementary to our brand colors. We don't want it to be like, oh my God, that's ugly. We're not trying to make it ugly, but we want it to stand out from everything else. Okay, if you're not sure how to do this, not sure how to kind of even pick colors, then go to color.adobe.com and put in your main brand color in the middle box. And on the left, you can choose complementary and then choose triad to add some additional color ideas. So you'll start to see this break down a little bit differently. So you can kind of see some coloring in a very different way. And to test if you've got this right, sit about 2 to 3 feet away, at least like put your arm out. And if your fingertips are touching your monitor, just an inch away. We don't want to be touching the monitor. So get that far away and then squint your eyes, darling. Okay, as Tyra Banks would say, schmize. Okay, so we're gonna schmize at our monitor and we want to see what stands out. When you squint your eyes, almost closed, what is the thing you see? If it is not the button, then you gotta get a better color or something, okay? Or maybe it's putting a border around it or something like that, okay? We want the button to stand out. We want the thing that we want them to do to be the most obvious thing. Okay, so when you squint, if the picture that you're using stands out the most, then dull that picture down or fix your button so it's a more obvious color. Okay, you want it to be super obvious. Okay, so the only time you should use this color though is for your action items, when you're using that additional color for your branding, for your action items. So another way to do this is with image. Okay, images, directional cues is what we call them. So we tend to look where other people look. Okay, it's just human nature. Think about a time when maybe you were like going for a walk or something and someone's looking up in the sky and you start looking up. Do they see aliens? What are they looking at, right? So everybody starts, oh, what's happening? Well, everybody starts looking up in the sky because that's just what we do as human nature. We're curious. What are they looking at? Okay, so that's sort of another way to do that, is to think about putting sort of an image of a human, yourself even, pointing, looking, right? Looking at the actual where your button or your sign up area is. So think about that, because when a human is looking at your CTA with a favorable expression, there's a much higher chance that your audience will A, feel good about it, and B, look at your CTA too. All right, so another way is with arrows and graphics. Okay, they're pretty obvious things, but I'm sure you've seen these on websites. Some people may say that using arrows to point to something is like saying click here on a button, but I beg to differ. Using arrows is just another way to bring attention to what you want the audience to do. It helps them move through your content and get to your CTA. People like taking directions. I know that it's hard to hear, but we actually do like to know what we're supposed to do. Okay, what are we supposed to do next? Don't make it hard for me. So arrows remove doubt and make it really simple for them to figure out where they're supposed to go next and do next and look next. Okay, so you can try a graphical arrow that points to your CTA, just like, even, the one of those ones that looks like somebody drew it, that kind of thing. So lots of different ways to do it. It doesn't have to be a big, huge arrow. It can be just a simple drawn, looks like a little drawn with a pen or pencil. Color is another way. So this is number 4. Color can also be used to help things stand out or push the eye to a space that you want them to be. And it can also be no color. So perhaps it's using white space. I always say white space is your friend. So it is sort of taking all the color away and sort of so the eye then focuses just on the thing that you've left within that white space. Okay, so remember that in this case though, you don't, you do want to stick with your brand colors a little bit more. We don't want to use, for me, like a bright pink background. No, because I want them to focus on what I want them to do, right? So you can also use gradients to help move the eye to where you want them to be, right? So there's different ways. You can also have maybe an image in your CTA and sort of blend that image out with a color over top of it. So it kind of becomes like it pushes them towards the form or whatever it is that you want them to fill out. Number 5 would be visual social proof. So I know that we put testimonials or we'll take screenshots from our Facebook groups or pages or Instagrams or whatever, and we put them on our landing pages, which is great. But let's bring some attention to them because those are really, really powerful. So you can use icons to help bring attention to that, or using sort of a different kind of graphic sort of to make them stand out, putting them within a bar with their own color and maybe a funky border on the top and bottom makes them stand out. Like there's different ways that you can bring attention to things. So be thoughtful and spend time planning out those visual cues before you put most to screen. And your landing page will be a place where your audience can easily move through it and click your CTA.